Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting into some more Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. Alright, you guys have given me your input, and I appreciate all feedback you guys have been giving me, and I've taken it into consideration, and what I'm going to do going forward is I'm not going to swap daily videos where I do 1-on-1, just because I don't know how much of the demand is still there for regular Ultra League, but what I will do is still be more consistent in getting in that regular Ultra League content and that regular Master League content. So today, we got an Ultra Premier video that's about to come out, and then maybe starting in Masters, because Ultra's about to end now that I really put more thought into it. Because also what I've been doing a lot more recently is giving you guys a bunch of spice, and as I've been trying to squeeze in all that spice for you guys, I haven't really been sharing my meta teams, my go-to teams, my winning teams that I'm noticing, and I feel like a lot of you guys have realized that and you want to come to me for strats, you want to see some spice occasionally, and I've been coming with a little bit too much spice. Like today's video I got some more spice, but I want to make sure my next video is like my go-to team to show you guys what I've been winning with, because I started this season off at 2287 and I've made some major gains, about 400 points between two teams, and this one team is really what's allowing me to push into these higher ratings. So let me know in the comment section if you want to see the battles on that team. I definitely want to make that the next video, and then if there's still time in Ultra League by then, because of what's today, as I'm recording it, this is Thursday, when I put this out it'll be Friday, which means that the next video will come out Saturday, then potentially I could do a regular Ultra video for Sunday. Maybe, we'll see. I'm also going away this weekend, so I'm gonna see how I could arrange my schedule for all that stuff, because then Masters starts this upcoming Monday, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but I know the season changes around, like, season change typically happens on a Monday and it's every 2 weeks. I know it's been 2 weeks. But anyhow, enough jibber jabber. Today's Spicemon is Scizor, and if this is too much spice, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see. I should really be giving you more of my meta teams more often than I have been, so I do apologize for that, and I hope you guys can forgive me. So I'm trying to still figure out that consistent balance, because the other issue is now I'm Twitch streaming, so I've been saving all the meta stuff there, and I've kind of been not forgetting, but not really thinking straight, and I've been trying to find what spice pick can I use now, what spice pick can I use for this YouTube video, while all the meta stuff's been staying on Twitch. I gotta bring the meta stuff here. I'm really doing jibber jabber. Scizor is the Spicemon today. I put together a very weird team that had some interesting success, and actually I kind of want to go back to trying it out. So let's get into these battles. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's check out how Scizor is Scizor in Ultra Premier battles. So Scizor alone is a weird pick, and I didn't exactly put the most meta picks around it either. I used Dragonite as a safe swap, which I found very interesting as I continued using it, and then I had Toxicroak in the back as like a closer, and essentially the logic was like both of them don't really want to see Charmers. Toxicroak's kind of okay with Charmers, but like if I safe swap Dragonite lure out of Charmers, Scizor could deal with it. Scizor can also deal with Venusaur, and Scizor can deal with Gyarados. Scizor can also deal with what was the other mon? Oh, it can also deal with other Dragonite leads, which is why I was leading with Scizor, so I had those positive matchups. And here we're in another Dragonite mirror, and somebody was telling me in the last video, you want to commit to a Dragon Breath down. In this specific situation, I didn't want to, just because I'm at a health deficit, so I want to get off the Dragon Claw, force their shields, and then they're going to commit to the Dragon Breath down here on me. But I don't mind this too much, because I was able to get their Dragonite fairly low. They're not at a Hurricane. I can bring Scizor back in and kind of just eat whatever this move is, and at least I have shields advantage now, even though I didn't end up getting switch advantage. So they're throwing the move. This is going to be a Dragon Claw. Again, we had lost lead because they had led with the Swampert there. So we're waiting for that Swampert to come back out, but at least here we kind of have shield advantage. And we're just waiting for them to make their decision. And they actually come in with an Excavalier. So this ends up working a little bit better for me, as much as I guess Excavalier and Swampert both counter Scizor fairly well. So the logic here was, I guess they figured go with their harder counter and Swampert could handle whatever I had in the back. But then their mistake was they left an Excavalier quite a bit long because they wanted to get off that Aerial Ace, which is allowing me to counter at them and kind of like farm up their Excavalier. I can't completely farm down because I don't want them to get off another charge move, and I still have to watch out for the energy that Swampert might have in the back. So I throw a Mud Bomb here, it gets their shields, and they're still staying in, and they threw an Aerial Ace the first time, and since I have another shield, I'm kind of like, maybe they'll bait me with another Aerial Ace, and I can tank that. Aerial Ace can be tanked because there's no stab on it. They then swapped into Swampert. They had the Hydro Cannon. I saved the shield specifically for this because I'm relatively close to a Mud Bomb, and I'm hoping I can get it off like I'm about to do here. So my opponent made some mistakes there, kind of bringing in the Scizor the way they did, and then not swapping into Swampert immediately when I swapped into Toxicroak. I tried to pull a swap. I end up not catching anything, but Scizor takes down the Swampert, and then the Excavalier has such low health because it ate so many counters from my Toxicroak that I was able to pull out that first match. What was also huge in that last match was the Dragonite save swap, because they didn't really have a great answer to counter my Dragonite other than a Dragonite of their own, and that kind of helped in that situation in trying to overcome the poor lead. Getting into the second match, another poor lead, another Dragonite save swap, and they swap into a regular Muck, which again is telling me my opponent here doesn't really have a great answer for my Dragonite, because the Poison Jabs are dealing neutral damage, they'll kind of add up, but Poison Jab doesn't really charge energy that quickly. I do have to worry about either really Thunder Punch or Dark Pulse, those are the main moves that Mucks are running, but neither of those get stabbed, so they're not too concerning. I was slightly worried this might be a Dark Pulse, so I did decide to shield because I wanted to commit to switch. Ends up being a Thunder Punch bait, but I'm fine with that because of the fact that since they baited, they're probably not getting to the Dark Pulse here, especially because they let that Dragon Claw go down, so I'm going to be able to Dragon Breath them down anyway, and they're not even going to get to another charge move, and I get Switchback. Then they come in with a Machamp, so I'm like, wow, their backline must be extremely weak to Dragonite, and I'm going to throw this Dragon Claw here, see if I can get a shield from their Machamp. End up not getting the shield, but I have the Machamp really low, and Dragonite has served its purpose. I don't want to be down 2 shields and no shields. I'm letting this charge move go through. It's going to end up being a cross chop. Won't take me out. The following counters will, but Toxicroak can come in and counter down the Machamp to get some early energy. They're going for a charge move. Both charge moves that Machamps are typically running are going to be resisted by Toxicroak. Ends up being the cross chop. I have no problem letting that go through. They swap. They don't let themselves get countered down. They bring in a Gallade, and then I bring in Scizor. And Scizor can kind of handle Gallade to an extent. The shield disadvantage isn't great. I still need to worry about close combats, but these bullet punches are adding up, and these night slashes are quite spammy. Scizor is a bit glassy, and it has a double weakness to fire. Gallade's not a fire type. I'm just kind of going over the breakdown of Scizor here. But I got all 2 night slashes already, and I had this Gallade really low. I get the boost here, and it's quite tempting to want a shield, but they've done so many confusions, I figure they're at 2 charge moves. So I'm going to let Scizor go down, and I'm going to hope that Toxicroak has enough energy to survive 1 confusion and get off the Mud Bomb before the second confusion could go through. So me saving that shield was huge because they had to commit to a confusion down, and I was able to Mud Bomb their Gallade, counter their Machamp, and take the second match of the set also. So as much as the Scizor lead hasn't worked out in either of the first 2 matches, Scizor did put in some work there, and I was able to win both those matches, which was pretty crazy considering the team comp and the fact that I lost lead. And getting into this next match, I got Scizor on Lapras, and this is a lost lead for Scizor because it is pretty glassy. It will resist these ice shards that are coming through, but the neutral surfs chunk, and I'm only dealing neutral damage to the Lapras because of its water typing along with its ice typing. Is that what it is? Is that what that is? I'm pretty sure I'm only dealing neutral damage. I mean, when I look at the screen, which is a great feature that Pokemon Go added to the PvP PvP mechanic, is that you can tell those ice shards are dealing resisted damage because not very effective appears above my head, and when I'm doing bullet punches to the Lapras, those are dealing, it doesn't say anything, so it means it has to be neutral. But either way, because of this, because of the fact I'm going to lose this matchup, I'm going to let the Surf go through, and I have the Lapras in a pretty decent health range where I can bring in Toxicroak and commit to a counter down before they get off a charge move. So that's important here because of the fact that I lost lead Scizor on Lapras. I would need a boost, and even with a boost I probably still wouldn't win that lead matchup. But either way, they bring it up on, I go for the Mud Bomb, they bring in the Gallade, so I have to get out, I swap it to my Dragonite, and I'm hoping Lapras is their only counter for Dragonite, and considering how long this Gallade has stayed in, it's kind of looking like it. I'm expecting this to be a close combat because their Gallade wasn't switch locked, they can throw and then get out, and Charizard, not exactly a great answer for Dragonite, so I'm going to spam these Dragon Claws, Dragon Breathe all over this Charizard, and even though I'm at a shield disadvantage, I'm going to hope that I can deal enough damage to still take out this Charizard, so it's going to be close. It's not looking very likely though because Dragonite's health is in Dragon Claw range, and these Fire Spins do get Charizard to the Dragon Claws relatively quickly, and Toxicroak doesn't exactly have charge moves that can hurt Charizard too much unless we get all the way to a Sludge Bomb, which takes a while because the counters will be single resisted, the Mud Bombs will also be single resisted, both of which don't do a great chunk of damage to Charizard. So I go into Toxicroak here, and I'm not trying to take any chances throwing a Mud Bomb. I go all the way to the Sludge Bomb. I'm thankful that I'm able to get it off before they get off a charge move. This will definitely take out the remaining health of the Charizard, and I think later on in the match we see that a Mud Bomb wouldn't have been enough. Oh no, I think that was actually against a Dragonite. But either way, they bring in Gallade, and they just confusion me down before Toxicroak can try to clutch endgame. Sorry about the mix-up on the commentating at the end. I mixed up a match at the end of the set with that match. A Mud Bomb might have been close enough, or just enough to take out the Charizard. It would have been close, and that might have been my only win condition if I was able to throw that Mud Bomb, get to another one against the Gallade, and potentially Mud Bomb it down. Ended up not wanting to play that risk, and it just barely cost me, unfortunately. Getting into this fourth match of the set, we have our first positive lead. So Scizor lead has finally paid off. Scizor wins this matchup against Dragonite pretty well, dealing neutral damage against the Dragonite, whereas the Scizor is taking a bunch of resisted damage from the Dragon Breaths and the Dragon Claws. They decided not to shield anything, and I'm assuming they were trying to get to a Hurricane to deal some neutral damage, but they ended up falling short and not getting any charge moves off, so that looks pretty good so far. But they go into an Escavalier, and Scizor doesn't exactly like this matchup because the counters do hurt. The bullet punches to Escavalier aren't doing that much. These Night Slashes do a little bit of chip damage, but I'm like, you know what? Let's go into Dragonite. I don't mind any of Escavalier's charge moves, and they end up bringing in their Lapras. So essentially my logic here was to do exactly what I did, which I didn't want Escavalier to stay there. I wanted to lure out a potential Lapras so that I could deal with it, because I didn't want, essentially, actually what I could have done, which would have been a lot smarter, considering the situation now I really think about it, I should have just let Scizor go down and get countered down, have Dragonite come in, eat whatever the energy was from Escavalier, because it would have most likely not done a lot of damage, and then Toxicroak could have came in and finished both of them in this situation. But I don't think yeah, that was just a big mistake on my part. The Lapras ended up getting a bunch of energy, so I throw in Scizor to kind of just take the energy so I can rely solely on Toxicroak here, and that's what ends up happening there. So now I'm countering away at the Lapras, and I make another mistake at the end of this match. I have a 2-shield to 1-shield advantage. I'm thinking to myself, shield whatever's coming at you. It was definitely a Surf because they just threw energy. What I should have done was I should have tanked that Surf and shielded both charge moves coming from the Escavalier, because they're going to be doing super effective damage to my Toxicroak, whereas that Surf wouldn't have hurt as much. The Aerial Ace actually wouldn't have taken out my Toxicroak, so me even getting baited there was a big problem. It's the Drill Run from Escavalier that I need to worry about the most, and that also ends up costing me. So a few mistakes here. I definitely could have pulled out this match if I didn't shield the first Surf, or if I didn't get baited by the Aerial Ace, or if I just would have left in Scizor to get countered down and then brought in Dragonite. A bunch of things that I could have done differently there, but honestly, I could be 3-1 with this team. Weirdly enough, as weird as this team is, and there are definitely some weaknesses, I really enjoyed using it and felt like it had some play. So, unfortunately there, messed up my potential opportunity at a positive set. Currently 2-2, but honestly, considering the spice of this team, I wouldn't be too mad at 2-3. We get into another Scizor on Lapras matchup, and this one actually plays out a little bit differently in a really weird way. And I don't know if it was, well, we'll get to it. So essentially, you know what's going to happen here. I'm going to spam as many Night Slashes, hoping for a boost. Not going to get a boost. These Night Slashes and Bullet Punches are just not doing enough damage. So I'm going to let these neutral Surfs go through. I'm not going to try to commit to winning this because I have, again, Toxicroak in the back to try and farm down the Lapras like I had done matches ago. But you're going to notice the difference after I throw this Night Slash. So I'm going for this Night Slash here. They're not going to shield this either, so let's wait for it to go through. Lands there, gets him in the yellow. They're going to go for a charge move, and this is going to be another Surf, and I'm not going to shield. But the big difference here is that when this Surf comes through, it doesn't take out my Scizor for some reason. I don't know why. But they got an extra Ice Shard in because of that. And since they got that extra Ice Shard in, that meant that was one less counter my Toxicroak got in, and they were able to get to a Surf here, whereas in the other matchup, or the other match, they weren't able to. And now my Toxicroak's at half health as opposed to being at full health with all this energy. So that's pretty game-changing in this matchup. They bring in a Dragonite, I save swap into my Dragonite. They bring in a Toxicroak, and I'm like, wow, these back lines looking pretty familiar here. So now I'm just going to only have one play, spam as many Dragon Claws as I possibly can, try to take out this Toxicroak in the right situation where I can then spam the Dragonite with Dragon Claws. I fully expected this to be a Sludge Bomb, which would hurt Dragonite, but since I got the Toxicroak low enough, I know I can commit to a Dragon Breath down, and I can hope to throw a Dragon Claw at, well, now I'm going to definitely throw a Dragon Claw at their Dragonite, but I can hope to try to at least get to 2 of them. So the first Dragon Claw is going to go through. This is 100% going to get their first shield, so now we're tied to shield apiece, and they're going to commit to a Dragon Breath down on me, and I was really hoping I can get to the second Dragon Claw, and I was not able to, which is extremely unfortunate. But this is where that Lapras matchup in the beginning ends up really costing me. So I shielded that Dragon Claw. I go for the Mud Bomb. I'm going to get off this bait, which will get their shield. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it. And if I had more health, I potentially could have survived a Dragon Claw that would have came at me. at Toxicroak's current health, I knew it would not have survived the Dragon Claw, so I went for the Mud Bomb hoping it would do enough damage. Didn't do enough damage. I made the right call throwing it because we CMP-tied, even though I got another counter through for whatever reason. And they end up taking out my Toxicroak because of it, but if they didn't get that Surf through from the Lapras in the beginning, Toxie would have had more health. I could have definitely gotten to that Sludge Bomb, and I probably would have survived that Dragon Claw with a little bit of health, and I could have potentially played out that match. Or won out that match. So I really wonder what caused that Surf to leave my Scizor alive, because that literally cost me the game. So the goal of this video was to test out Scizor in Ultra Premier. I'm not seeing too many around. Honestly, way back when in like Season 1 regular Ultra League, I used Scizor a lot there and had some decent success, mostly because of the Night Slash super effective damage on Giratinas and stuff. But in Ultra Premier, I'm not seeing too much play for it. This overall team comp I like. I actually really think I like the back line of Dragonite and Toxicroak. Probably should replace Scizor with something else, a little bit more meta or something with more coverage. I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head, but maybe something that covers Dragonite and Toxicroak's weakness as well, which pretty much is like Charm. Even though, again, Toxicroak takes neutral damage. I know my typings to an extent. I know them a little bit. So maybe a Venusaur lead could perform better there. I'm just spitballing. You guys let me know. Unfortunately, I was disappointed by Scizor. But again, the purpose of this channel, I want to provide you the meta stuff, but I also want to throw you guys some spice and show you stuff to save you guys Stardust. So you know. Maybe you scroll through PvP and you were like, Scizor's trash and you ahead of time, you're smarter than me. That's fully possible. But at the same time, you know, maybe you were just curious. Maybe you just want to see it in action, and that's what it looks like. But I definitely got to get you more of that meta content back. So I do apologize for slacking on that a bit, or just really not slacking, but just not putting it out, because I don't know if you checked my elo, but I'm in the 2600s, so I've gained 400 points. I've been doing pretty well. I'm going to try and put out my meta team in the next video. Other than that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.